Welcome to second unit, topic 1, establishing a process safety management system. So we know that what is process management system and process safety management system. I'll again emphasize that. Okay. So process safety management is a structured framework designed to identify, evaluate and control hazards associated with highly hazardous chemicals. Again I repeat, process safety management is a structured framework designed to identify, evaluate, and control hazards associated with highly hazardous chemicals. So, it is essential for preventing catastrophic accidents such as fires, explosions, and toxic releases in industries dealing with hazardous materials. So, why we go for process safety management? So, what is the importance? Process safety incidents can lead to severe consequences, including loss of life and injuries, environmental damage, property destruction, regulatory penalties, business disruption. So, to mitigate such risk, organization establish a process safety management system that integrates policies, procedures, and best practices to ensure safe operations. So why we go for establishing a process safety management? I think you would have understood why. That integrates policies, procedures, and best practices to ensure safe operations. Okay, let's begin the topic. So introduction to process safety management. Process safety is, as I said, it is a structured approach to managing the safety of processes that involves hazardous substances. So process safety management is a vital system in industries like chemical processing, oil and gas, pharmaceuticals, and other sectors dealing with hazardous chemicals. So the main objective of process safety management is to prevent catastrophic accidents that can cause loss of life, damage to property, and environmental pollution. By implementing process safety management, industries can ensure safe operations, regulatory compliance, and business continuity. Okay, so I think you would know the what is a general introduction to process safety management in process industries. So what is that? It is a structured framework for managing the integrity of operating systems and processes that handle hazardous substances. So generally in chemical processing and oil and gas, pharmaceuticals, other sectors dealing with hazardous chemicals, wherever we'll deal with hazardous chemicals, so we need to have process safety management system. So our objective is that the process safety management objective is that to prevent catastrophic accidents and ensure the safety of workers and environment and surrounding communities. That is the main objective. Now coming to process safety management importance. So why PSM is important? So it prevents hazardous chemical release, reduces the likelihood of fires, explosions, and toxic releases, protects human life, environment, and property, ensures regulatory compliance and business continuity. So preventing hazardous chemical releases. So ensuring that all containment and safe handling of chemicals. Ensuring ensuring that the containment of chemicals and safe handling of chemicals, that is what prevents hazardous chemical release. So reducing the likelihood of fires, explosions and toxic releases. So implementing safety measures to minimize the risk. Implementing the safety measures to minimize the risk. See, many industrial disasters result from uncontrolled chemical reactions, equipment failures, or human errors, right? So, implementing strict operating procedures and regular equipment inspections reduces this risk. So, emergency shutdown systems and fire suppression mechanisms help control incidents before they escalate. Okay, So next, protecting human life, environment and property. So workplace safety is the top priority, and this PSM ensures employees are trained to handle hazardous materials effectively. So environmental protection is achieved by preventing spills, emissions, leaks that could harm ecosystems. So property and infrastructures are safeguarded, reducing financial losses from accidents and downtime. So next, ensuring that regulatory compliances and business continuity. What does that mean? So industries must comply with these safety regulations and other international standards. So non-compliance can result in fines, legal actions, and reputational damage. Right? So a strong PSM program ensures smooth operations, reducing unplanned shutdowns, and maintaining productivity. Yes. So these are the very important aspects of process safety management. Next, we will move to next slide. That is objectives of PSM. See, the primary objectives of a PSM systems are identifying and understanding process hazards associated with operations, establishing standard operating procedure for safe processes, implementing safety management practices to mitigate risk, reducing risk associated with hazardous chemicals, complying with regulatory standards like OSHA, EPA, and other safety regulations, improving process reliability and operational performances. So, the core objective of process safety management. So, identifying and understanding the process hazards. So, when you deal with any process, you must identify and understand what hazard it causes or what kind of hazardous chemical substances it involves. So, all these aspects you must know. I mean, we must know when we handling hazardous substances. So, how do you identify understand process hazards? So, conducting process hazard analysis. How do you conduct techniques? So, how do you conduct? So, such as HAZAP, FMEA, and what if studies, right? And recognizing potential risk related to equipment, chemicals, and human factors, and documenting chemical properties, reactivity, and potential interactions. So, in this, knowing all this, so we can know identifying, understanding process hazards. So, establishing operational procedures for safe processes. So, developing standard operating procedures, that is for normal and emergency conditions. So, ensuring proper documentation of startup, shutdown, and maintenance activities. Training employees on safe work practices to minimize human error. So, in this way, we can establish operational procedure for safe processes. Implementing safety management practices. So, integrating mechanical integrity programs for regular inspection and maintenance of equipment. Ensuring effective management of change to evaluate risk before modifications. Conducting periodic safety audits and reviews to identify gaps and areas of improvement. So, this way, implementing safety management practices can be done and mitigating risk associated with the chemical hazardous chemicals. So, controlling exposure to toxic, flammable, and reactive chemicals. Say it is associated with the hazardous chemicals. So, exposure to toxic, flammable, and reactive chemicals we have to control. So, installing engineering controls like containment systems, pressure relief devices, and ventilations, enforcing proper personal protective equipment and emergency response plans. So, this way we can mitigate risk associated with hazardous chemicals. Next one, compliance with the regulatory standards. So, as we know, OSHA and EPA. So, adhering to industrial regulations such as OSHA, EPA. OSHA means we know Process Safety Management Standard for Hazardous Chemical. EPA, Chemical Accident Prevention Guidelines. And we have one more, that is we have discussed last unit, that is in first unit, ISO 45001 Occupational Health and Safety Management Standards. Okay, so avoiding legal penalties and ensuring workplace safety through compliances only. சரியா? Okay, so compliances with regulation standards like OSHA, EP and other safety regulations we must follow. The industries must follow. So improving overall process reliability and operational performances. So reducing unplanned shutdowns, equipment failures and production losses. Enhancing the efficiency of industrial processes through continuous monitoring and improvement. Fostering a safety culture that prioritizes hazard prevention and proactive risk management, right? So this way we can improve overall process reliability and operational performance. So enhancing the efficiency of industrial processes through continuous monitoring and improvement, right? Okay, next we will move on to next slide, that is regulatory framework of for PSM. So what are the regulatory frameworks we have for PSM? So the primary objective of a PSM, objectives of PSMs, that's what we have discussed just now. Okay, now what is regulatory framework for PSM? So regulatory framework for PSM is governed by various national and international regulatory standards. So we have OSHA 29 CFR, that is 1910.119, that is one standard, and EPA risk management plan, that is RMP, ISO 45001 occupational health and safety management systems, SEVASO directive, that is EU control of major accident hazards involving dangerous substances. So okay, we will discuss one by one in detail. Okay, so as I said, PSM safety management is governed by various international and national regulatory standards to ensure the safe handling of hazardous chemicals and prevent industrial accidents. Okay, so we have some standards, that is OSHA, process safety management of highly hazardous chemicals. This is established by OSHA, means what? Occupational Safety and Health Administration in the US. So it is applies to industries handling highly hazardous chemicals with threshold quantities. It requires 14 key elements including process hazard analysis, management of change and mechanical integrity programs, right? We have EPA risk management plan, that is accidental release prevention. So it is mandated by the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, under the Clean Air Act, under the Clean Air Act. So it is focusing mainly on preventing and mitigating accidental releases of toxic and flammable substances. So industries must develop an RMP document, RMP risk management plan document, detailing hazard assessment, prevention programs and emergency response measures, right? So next one we have ISO 45001 occupational health and safety management system. It is also, it is international standard, right? It is a global standard for workplace health and safety management. It helps organization establish a systematic approach to hazard identification, risk assessment and incident prevention. So aligns with PSM principles to ensure a culture of safety and compliance. Last one, that is SEVASO directive. So there's a new one, we would not aware of it, just I'll tell you what is a brief about it. So it is control of major accident hazards involving dangerous substances. Control of major accident hazards involving dangerous substances. So enforced in European Union, EU. So member states to prevent industrial accidents. So introduced after the 1976 Sevasco disaster in Italy. Sevaso disaster in Italy. So where a chemical plant released a toxic cloud of dioxin. So it requires, again I am saying, it is a 1976 Sevaso disaster in Italy, where a chemical plant released a toxic cloud of dioxin. So, so to prevent industrial accidents, so the European Union enforced this Sevaso directive. Okay, so requires risk assessment, land use planning, emergency preparedness and public information disclosure. So why we go for compliance? Why is the compliance with these regulations are important? See, it reduces risk of fires, explosions, and toxic releases, ensures legal compliance and avoids penalties, enhances workplace safety and prevents environmental damage, improves industry reputation and fosters a culture of safety. Okay, so these are the main agenda of regulatory framework for PSM. Okay, so next we will move on to elements of process safety management system. So the following 14 elements from the foundation of a robust PSM system. So process safety information. First one, a compilation of information on hazardous chemicals, technology, and equipment. So which means it includes chemical properties, process flow diagrams, and piping and instrumentation diagrams. So and safety data sheets. Okay. So equipment design specifications. Okay. This is process safety information and process hazard analysis PHA. So systematic assessment of process hazards techniques include HAZAP, what if analysis, and fault tree analysis, failure mode and effects analysis FMEA. So process hazard analysis, in that we have hazard and operability study, HAZOP, we call this as HAZOP, and what if analysis, fault tree analysis, failure mode and effects analysis. Say some with this abbreviation you must know. Okay, for what is HAZOP, what is FTA, and what is FMEA. Okay, so process safety information, as I said, so discuss about chemical properties and hazards. Chemical properties means, tell me anyone. So it includes what? Toxicity, reactivity, flammability, and exposure limits. These are all coming under chemical properties and hazards. So process flow diagram means, we know, illustrating the overall chemical process flow. Piping and instrumentation diagrams, yes, shows the detailed engineering schematics. Equipment design specification ensures compatibility with safety requirements. Safety data sheets provides chemical handling and emergency response guidelines. Yes. So next, coming to process hazard analysis, it is a systematic risk assessment of hazards associated with the process operations. Yes, we know common PHA methods, hazard and operability study. What it will do? It will identify deviations from design intent. Again, it identifies deviation from design intent. So what if analysis? What is design intent? So you are designing something, okay, right? You are designing something. Operability study means, so it is deviation from the operation, right? Okay. So what if analysis brainstorms potential failures and their consequences, and fault tree analysis determines the root causes of failures using logical diagrams. Failure mode and effects analysis examines the possible failure modes and their impacts. Okay. So next we will see next what is the third step, and outcomes of this process we will see. Okay, so outcomes are identification of hazards, risk ranking, recommendation for risk reduction. So this and all coming under outcomes of uh, outcomes of process safety information, process hazard analysis. So in that pre-startup safety review, PSSR, so we have final safety check before commissioning new or modification processes, I mean modified processes, and verification of equipment installation, operating procedures, emergency systems, training completion. Emergency planning and response, we have development of emergency response plans for fires, explosions, toxic releases, evacuations. So regular drills and our cooperation with local emergency responders. So, so we will see what is that pre-startup safety review and emergency planning and response. So first, verification of equipment installation, that is ensuring proper setup of machinery. Operating procedures, confirming that guidelines are in place. Emergency system, checking alarms, fire suppressions and emergency shutdowns. training completion. So making sure employees are trained before startup. So emergency planning and response. So developing a response plan to handle hazardous incidents. Development of emergency response plans for hazardous incidents. So emergency plans should cover fires, explosions, toxic release, evacuations. So developing a response plan to handle hazardous incidents. So fires, what do you do? Fire suppression systems and evacuation procedures. Explosions, blast mitigation and personal safety measures. Toxic releases, leak detection and containment protocols. Evacuations, safe exit routes and assembly points. So regular drills to ensure preparedness. Coordination with the local emergency responders. Coordination, that is cooperation or coordination with local emergency responders. Fire, medical and hazardous materials teams. Okay, so this is what pre-startup safety review and emergency planning and response. Next we will move to incident investigation and complaints audit. So in incident investigation, so system investigation of process related incidents. So investigation steps, what are the investigation steps we have? So incident notification, root cause analysis, and corrective actions, documentation and reporting. And next one, compliance audit. We have regular audits to evaluate the effectiveness of PSM system. Audit frequency every 3 years. Follow up on corrective actions. Okay, fine. So a systematic investigation and compliance audits, systematic investigations and incident investigation compliance audits, which are crucial for identifying weaknesses and ensuring continuous improvement in process safety. Incident investigation. We have investigation steps, incident notification. So reporting the incident immediately. Root cause analysis, identifying underlying factors that led to the incident. Corrective actions, so implementing measures to prevent recurrence. Documentation reporting, keeping records for future references and complaints. So what is complaints audit? Regular audits to assess and enhance the effectiveness of PSM system. So audit frequency conducted every 3 years to ensure adherence to safety standards and follow up on corrective actions to address any non-compliance issues. So these elements play a vital role in learning from past incidents and maintaining process safety compliance in industrial environments. In industrial environments. Okay, next we are moving to next slide. So in this we have employee participation, contractors management. So employee participation, involvement of employees in hazard analysis, incident investigations, safety commitments, safety committees. Contractor management, evaluation, selection of contractors based on safety performance. Contractor responsibilities, safety training, compliance with PSM procedures, incident reporting. Okay, so just a minute. So involvement of employees in hazard analysis. So what they will do? So identifying potential risk in the workplace before they cause accidents. So incident investigations. Analyzing accidents or near miss events to prevent future occurrence. Safety committees. Group of employees who regularly discuss safety improvements and ensure compliance with safety policies. So now coming to contractors management. Since contractors work temporarily and may not be familiar with the company's safety procedures, their evaluation and the managements are crucial. Okay. So these selections are based on safety performances. So we have contractor responsibilities, safety training, that is contractors must receive proper training to understand workplace hazards and safe working procedures. Compliance with PSM, process safety management procedures. Contractors need to follow specific safety regulations, particularly in high risk environments like chemical plants or construction sites. Incident reporting. Contractors must report any accidents, injuries, or unsafe conditions immediately. Yes. Okay. Next, we are moving to next slide. That is, we have a trade secrets protection and hot work permits. So, confidentially agreements related to uh, proprietary process information, balancing safety transparency with intellectual properties, and we have artwork permits in that authorization process for welding, grinding, and or other ingredient resources. Fire prevention measures, we have fire extinguishers, gas monitoring, fire watch personals. So what is a trade secret protection? So this refers to safeguarding that is proprietary company processes and confidential information while ensuring safety compliance. What is confidential agreement? So employees and contractors must sign agreements to protect sensitive company data. Balancing safety and intellectual property. So while maintaining secrecy, companies must also ensure safety related information is shared appropriately to prevent accidents. How to work permits? So hot work permits, sorry. Hot work includes activities like welding, grinding and cutting which produce heat or sparks and can ignite fires. So a hot work permit is required before performing such tasks to ensure safety precautions are in place. So those are fire prevention measures. Fire extinguishers must be readily available in case of emergency. Gas monitoring detects flammable gases to prevent explosions. Fire watch personals, trained staff who monitor the work area for potential fire hazards. Right? Why is this important? It protects company secrets while maintaining transparency for safety and prevents workplace fires and explosions caused by hot work activities, ensures compliance with safety regulations. Yes. Okay, next coming to, so we have discussed all 14 elements from the foundation of robust PSM system, elements of process safety management system. Okay, there's 14 elements we have to understand. Okay.